Welcome back to the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard us talk about Keep It Like a Secret by Built to Spill and 3D Country by Geese. But as you know, family heads, it is an off week, so we've brought in a guest who has given us a theme for this week's album. Please welcome Gavin Fernandez.
Hi, I'm Gavin Fernandez, everyone. Long-time Family Album listener.
Yeah.
Long-time finding where everyone lives. And
Welcome to the show.
getting my way here.
Exactly.
Making your way downtown.
As one might say.
How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty fine. Woke up, had to listen to these albums. Didn't feel so good afterwards. But
Fair enough. Well, I guess that'll bring us. What is your theme for the albums that you've brought us, and what are the albums that you've brought us?
Yes. So I brought Take Me Back to Eden by Sleep Token and The Sickness by Disturbed. And I thought, I like metal. So maybe like intro metal because I know so many people, I don't like it. And I was like, I'm going to change their minds. And we'll get into
Alexa, play Take a Chance by ABBA.
Might have jumped the gun on one of these albums.
Yes. I'll explain more about that, but
Before we get into that, though, give us a little bit of your musical background, musical taste, any kind of musical interests.
Yes. Okay. So my music taste is kind of like walking into the Philly Art Museum and seeing like the modern art section where you see a hairball on a chain and you're like, what the fuck is that? That's kind of like my music taste. Like on my
I respect it.
I've been really loving funk and metal right now. Those are my two, which is why you'll see why I gave you certain things.
Yes.
I am a bass player, so of course I really only care about rhythm, and I don't really look at anything like lyrics or anything. But my music taste could range from like some random shit from the 1920s to like hyper pop, love me some 100 gecs.
Dude, that new album was so
Cupcake.
good.
Cupcake. That's another like I really love System of a Down. I really look at music like it is art. It's the music to me. Art decorates space, music decorates time, and I love a little bit of everything. Like when I say I listen to everything, like I fucking mean it. You could put anything on, and for the most part, I will like something in that genre. I don't close myself off. So
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I think music is just too expensive to
put yourself in a box.
Yeah.
That was so well articulated. Oh my God. What did you say? Art decorates space, music decorates time?
Yes,
That's
I have
beautiful.
to give
I really
a
like that.
shout out to my fiance about that because she's going to be a music teacher, and they said, you're going to be a music teacher. Like, how do you explain music? Like, what is your definition of music? And that was hers, and that was the one that the professor really liked. So,
That's beautiful.
Shout out to Naomi.
Shout out to Naomi.
Shout
That's
out.
really beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Well, Gavin, what album would you like to start with this week?
Okay. I think let's start with the Sleep Token one because
Okay.
that's the one I listened to first and have my notes on first. But I think that also the transition from that to Disturbed is kind of like a jump scare.
That is true. Yeah.
It shouldn't be, but
Oh, it is.
It is.
You are correct.
It is a little bit. Yeah. So.
All right, so I will do the history on Sleep Token. So Take Me Back to Eden was released this year, May 19th, 2023 on Spine Farm Records, and it is the third studio album released by the band, and it went viral due to the singles from the album, especially The Summoning being popular on TikTok, giving the band quite a large bump in followers. And this group has a very dedicated fan base that quite likes them, and I don't mean to offend any of them, but my God, I do not care for this album.
I want to give a disclaimer too. I feel like when people see intro metal, they're gonna be all like metalheads are gonna come for you like worse than the Pentatonics fans.
Because you got the true family head.
No, because people are gonna be like, oh, that isn't real metal. Real metal is dying fetus. Okay, yeah, and it is, but
Explain what happened, the story for how you chose this album.
yes, okay, and then there's a reason for this. So I actually, from TikTok, God bless TikTok for my music, I was really exploring like metal, and I really wanted to get into new music because I'm one of those people, I watch the same movies over and over again, I listen to the same songs over and over again, I don't go into new stuff.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to get into new metal, and I saw someone say like, metal can be with any genre. And so they showed examples of like rap and metal, they had like classical and metal, they even had like indigenous like throat singing in metal, and that sounded like that was badass. I fucking love that. Like, and they showed how you could really take like anything. Like you could take jazz, you could take hip hop, you could take
prog,
like prog. You could do hyper pop and metal, pirate metal, and they had funk and metal. And I was like, and I heard The Summoning and I went, oh my God, this is like the best song I've ever heard. So I listened to it on repeat and I was like, you had approached me and said like, hey, let's get you on the family album. And I have been.
That's what I sound like.
That's spot on.
I was like literally for months trying to think, if I ever get on the family album, what am I going to give them? And it was going to be, Disturbed was going to be one for sure, because I grew up with that album. My parents listened to it all the time. I have the songs on there I really like. So I wanted to give you that if I was going to do a metal theme. And then I was going to go with something from System of a Down. I am not an album listener. I listen to songs. Sometimes I dabble with artists, but I don't listen to albums. I just hit, like, if I like a song, I like a song. I know the whole album is going to be like that. And I was going to take a chance with Sleep Token because I was like, The Summoning is so good. But then Reddit warned me. They're like, don't think you're going to get like that on any other's track. And I was like, I know it's probably not going to be like as good, but like,
how bad can it be?
So I heard the first song and then I heard The Summoning. And from The Summoning, I went, there's no fucking way. Like, the first song was pretty good. I love The Summoning. I'm just going to give them this album without listening to the rest of it. And I really wish I listened to the rest of it. That's just where I'm going to put it. But I know that, like, metalheads, hardcore ones are going to be like, this isn't real metal. Like, new metal's not real metal. Prog metal's not. Like, once again, don't close yourself in a box, okay? It has metal aspects. Genres are so loose nowadays. And this one has a lot of genre bending. It still has metal in it. Like, it's intro metal.
It's just
the
not
reason
like
I say
the prime focus,
intro metal is because if I tell someone, like, hey, I'm going to give you some, like
Anthrax.
Cannibal Corpse or Anthrax, they're going to be like, I don't want to listen to that. It's leave, scary, you know? So I wanted to give something like, and I picked genre bending albums because I want it to kind of be a transition. If someone is interested in getting to metal, but they don't want to go like right away and get into that like
screamo hardcore.
The really heavy, like, you know, like Attila level stuff, you know, because that scares people away. And I think, you know, sometimes it's like an acquired taste, you know. So I grew up with this, so I'm used to metal, you know. A lot of people aren't, so that's why I wanted to have that theme, you know.
Fair, and I think it's a good theme to have.
Oh, without a doubt. And like, I agree with that because I remember one time metal is also a genre that like I've never until recently have like tried to explore. Like, I started off with like really, really like, I don't want to say watered down, but like sort of on the outskirts of metal, more pop, more dance rock, Ghost. Because I really, really, really like Ghost.
Love Ghost. I was going to give you a Ghost album until I realized that you had done the one I was going to give you. So.
Oh, what?
Opus Eponymous.
Do you like Opus Eponymous?
Yes.
I love that album.
I do.
Oh, I love that album.
I've been listening to them a lot more. So I was like, and then I saw you did it, and I was like, I have to pick another one. That's why I picked Sleep Token, because
it's my fault.
No,
that's okay. Sorry. I'm excited to talk about this album.
I shouldn't be the one apologizing.
No, I mean, I say again, I think you'll be surprised by like some of my thoughts about the album overall, because I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
there are definitely some things about it that like I didn't love, especially the one track that is I think it's track number 5. Yeah, track number 5.
Oh yes, we'll get to track number 5. You know what it is, Gavin.
Okay. I had to look. I was like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh.
But I think like what you were saying though is that like metal does kind of go with like any kind of genre, and I feel like there shouldn't be any sort of gatekeeping with what you start with,
100%.
Because wherever you start, you can only keep going from there.
Yeah, well,
so it doesn't matter.
I feel like when people are like, "Oh, you don't listen to Exploded Cerebellum," I totally just made that up. I think
I thought that was
you could,
when people are like that, I'm like, 100%. Give me suggestions, but when you talk about it in a passive aggressive, like, you're not a real metalhead because you don't listen to fucking like Shit Stain, you know, and it's just like,
Shit Stain shower curtain.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, well, give me suggestions, I will listen to it, but the more you're like, oh, well, you know, you're fake, you're a fake fan, you're a poser because you don't listen to this, the more I'm like, I don't want to listen to that anymore because like,
you're a dick.
Music is not supposed to be some elitist thing.
It's not supposed to be gatekeeped.
Yeah, like I think
only girl bosses.
Yeah, I think that like, you know, you can enjoy things passively. You don't have to give 110% of yourself into something, and music is one of those things. I can like a song by Sleep Token without being like, Sleep Token's number one, I'm gonna go buy a front row seat to their concerts, you know. And the people who are 100%, like, I'm not here to shit on them or anything. If they love this 100%. Once again, I have mixed feelings on the album, but you know, it's one of those things that people should be able to just casually enjoy something without having to be able to name the lead singer's like hometown, his social security number, mother's maiden name, like you know, oh, you can't name all the
blood
people
type.
in you know. in Slipknot, no, I can't. But I listen to Slipknot, but I don't know any of their names. Like I that doesn't interest me. The music does, you know. Like I don't care about the people behind the band, you know. So
That's honestly really fair.
That's how like most people are, like casual listeners.
yeah, and once again, I'm not an album listener.
AJ and I are just snobs.
Exactly.
We're too much. We think we know what we're talking about.
And as we show, we really don't.
And I'm gonna tell you, I didn't listen to any of the albums from the family album of the episodes I've listened to, but it doesn't hinder my enjoyment of it because the way you talk about it is like we're looking at it technically. And I like that. You're not like, this person's the worst person ever because their fan base. No, you're not looking at it like that. You know, you're looking at like the technical aspects of it. And that's why I think that if you're going to enjoy music like that, you know? But like, don't tear other people down, you know? Like, I hate when people are like, oh, you don't like, no, I don't. Do I have to justify it to you? Like, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was a very good prelude.
Yeah.
Very good advice and just a general opinion to have about music. But without further ado, shall we just hop right into it?
Yes, we should.
Absolutely.
All right, starting off with the first track, we have Chokehold. I don't think it's a very strong start to this album. I'm not a huge fan of it. And I think a lot of that comes from, I'm not a fan of Vessel's vocals throughout this entire thing. It reminds me of...
It feels pitched down. Like
it feels very synthetic.
Like when I heard this, like, not to say everything, not to bring everything back to the summoning, but that's the opening, right?
Yeah.
But when I heard that, I was like, okay, it's interesting here. But then when I started hearing it in other songs, I was like, that's just his voice.
Yeah.
That's just, okay, we're rocking with that. That's
Rock it,
fine,
we ball.
you know? Yeah.
And in like some tracks, it doesn't really fit. I mean, I feel like for like the heavier tracks, it's fine. But just like, the effects are weird. As in a similar situation to Dan Smith of Bastille, he's a little too British for me.
AJ,
Yeah.
fucking get over it, okay? It's how they speak, okay?
I listen to good British artists.
Okay, well, all right, man. Like, I don't know what you want them to do. Like,
You know,
I'm joking.
something that my fiance would say is, how do you invent a language and be the worst at speaking it?
That is true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true.
Now we're going to have the British people lining up outside ready to kill
Hey,
us.
British people, I love Pink Floyd, love Genesis. I think the Brits are the best at making music.
The darkness.
The Darkness.
I heard The Darkness is pretty good.
Darkness. We saw them live.
Fun
weeks ago.
fact. I looked on the wiki. Disturbed actually feuded with The Darkness.
Oh, really?
Because I think either they opened for The Darkness or The Darkness opened for them. There's
God.
a feud tab in the
my God.
Disturbed wiki. And there's like 5 different bands.
The Darkness is like my fucking favorite band right now.
I've only heard good things about them.
Oh my God.
One of my
they're great.
teachers actually recommended them to me.
I think we saw that teacher at the concert.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
100%. Yes.
But anyway, continue.
Oh my
Whoever
God.
was speaking.
It's something about hating British people, I believe.
Yes.
I don't hate British people. I just don't like the sound of his voice. And I think just with the effects, it just doesn't really add a lot.
Yeah.
And also, it's really slow and boring. I feel like a big critique of this album is a lot of it sounds like Imagine Dragons to me.
Yes.
Which I do not care for.
This song, I really liked it better starting at the second verse. It felt like my main problem with a lot of these songs is I'm looking at them from a song standpoint and then an album standpoint.
Yeah.
And some of the songs feel disjointed. Like they feel like they had 7 different ideas and they said, let's just put them together as one song.
Yeah.
And this is how it felt. Like I said, like, okay, like the piano comes in, the vocals, I like the distortion a little bit, but like, I'm like, this isn't really metal. And then all of a sudden the drop hits and I'm just like, whoa, that was like a train coming at me. Like, and then I noticed that in a lot of other songs where they don't really build up to it. It just hits.
Yeah.
And so I'm just like, great. Like I like the staccato, like the metal drumming and everything, the rhythm really. I feel like that's one of the better things about the song, but I feel like the second half was, you know, if they had carried that through from the beginning and had done that same sound,
it's a
it
very
would've been
slow
a lot
start.
more enjoyable, you know.
No, for real. A couple things that I wrote about this is that like there's like the weird like bass sound in the beginning where it's like like really vibrating. It sounded like in Super Smash Brothers when you like critical hit somebody and does like that like weird like, you know what I mean? Sounds like a plank like flopping back and forth or something like that. I don't know why that's the thing I thought of. But another thing is like I didn't think the opener was like that bad. It's definitely not like, you know.
I ranked it a 3.5 out of 5. I ranked almost all of the songs. I probably should have gotten album average, but this one was a 3.5 out of 5 because I said, honestly, it was the song was pretty solid. I like the crunchiness and the distortion that came back at the end and how it really like, you know, blah, blah, blah. I just wish that it had carried through all the way. So it's not like you know, a terrible opener. I just feel like it was really like, okay, oh, we're doing lighter. Okay, no, we're not. Like, what are we doing here? Like, it for me, it just felt like I wish that they had just carried through the soft energy or the hard, crunchy distortion energy the whole way through. Or blended it better. Like, I think
build
of
up to
like
it.
when I think of like songs that start soft and then end really big, I think of like exit music for a film. I like the layering and everything. I wish that there was more like layering like that in here.
I agree. Honestly, I feel like it could be like nuanced a little bit better. It could be layered a bit better.
Yeah.
If we're going back a little bit to vocal delivery, one last thing I'll say is that, like, you know how on Spotify mobile version there's like you go to the about the artist at the very bottom. So it's a picture of him with his face in his hands. So the whole time his delivery is so like, you know what I mean? It's like so like not enunciated. I could imagine him just singing with like
his hands cupped in his face.
Like,
I was born in the darkness.
what will break first, Batman?
The sleep or the token?
The Aqua or the Regia? But yeah, it was an all right intro. There's only more to go through from here.
Yeah, there's a lot to go through. So let's pick up the pace as we move on to Gavin's favorite track.
Yes.
Possibly mine, The Summoning.
The Summoning. It's the reason I chose this album. I said I was so confident after hearing the song that I thought the whole album would be godly.
Yeah. It was very plebeian.
Yes. I have a lot of thoughts about this one. First of all, it's a sexy song.
Yes.
In the words of our good friend Fataday, he said, this song's kind of sexy, not gonna lie.
So that's gospel.
I once again, I like metal and I like funk. So this song, of course, was very like everything I ever wanted. But when I was listening to it, I was like, when's the funk gonna come in? And then it came in. But I feel like even if you cut that part off, it would still be a good song without the funk part.
Okay.
That's why I really enjoy it, is because the first 5 minutes are still like, yes, they're still really good. And then the funk part comes in. There's that lyrical recall from the beginning, which just ties it in so well. So it's not as abrupt that like, oh, we're in funk now. Like the lyrical recall really helps bring it together. But also like, it's a song about like desire and sexual frustration and everything, but it's not like gross. Like it doesn't feel like a cheap romance novel.
Yeah, that comes later.
Yeah, that comes later. But it doesn't feel like a cheap romance novel you'd find at a thrift store. It's like carnal. It's very like
raw,
and it's really like it's hot. Like I don't know how to say it. Not that I'm like, oh, like I want to have sex with the song or anything, but it feels really like
visceral.
Yes, it's the like the staccato drums and everything. It's like when I think of metal, I'm like, yes, this is what I want from it, you know. And the way that like they, aside from some lyrics like "turn a good girl,"
I hate that lyric so much.
Aside from some things like that, like overall, this song is just for me like. It reminds me of the first time I heard Me and Your Mama by Childish Gambino.
Okay.
Like the vibe, and I want more songs like this because the vibe just feels really like I love the heaviness of the funk and everything. Like for me, it's just when I've tried to find similar songs on Spotify, Hug Me from Despicable Me came up. And I said, these do not give me the same feeling at all.
Dude, Drew's the sexiest man alive. What are you talking about?
I said, I don't understand my notes here, but it says, I guess I've been blue-balled by music forever, so if anyone listening, I need more aggressive funk, please suggest more.
Oh, yeah.
And thank you.
That's my notes. That'll be the question of the week. Give us an aggressive funk suggestion.
Yes, what songs sound like this, but are not Hug Me by Pharrell Williams and Trey Parker.
It's so funny you mentioned Awaken My Love, like that album by Childish Gambino, because I feel like in the last few days I've heard someone like talk about a song from that album like a few times. Oh. I do love Me and Your Mama by
it feels like almost like She's So Heavy by the Beatles too. Like
it sounds like that.
I love that vibe. I want more I want more music like that. Oh, it's so good.
But we're not talking about either of those songs. Unfortunately, we should. Yeah. We really should at some point. But I can agree with it. I actually kind of like this one. This is definitely one that I liked the best.
Agreed.
That ending, it's just when it comes on, I'm just like, wow, this is pretty tight.
I also do the choruses. I feel like when he goes for higher like pitches, it works a little better. Plus that chorus just sounds like really powerful and triumphant.
My God, he can shriek.
Yeah.
He could really, really shriek.
Yeah. I think that the bridge is very like nice instrumentally. As Gavin said, the good girl bad lyric I fucking hate. He just doesn't have the charisma or like sexual like energy to pull it off. It just sounds really awkward to me. But other than that, I think the song is very solid, especially musically. Shall I move on?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So next up, it takes a bit of a dip. We have Granite.
I was not expecting this to be like the next.
Right?
I think, AJ, you and I had talked about this album. One of this album's problems is that it's a little tonally inconsistent.
Yes.
And I mean, hey, sometimes I feel like they should have just leaned into like either one of the sounds or one of the other sounds, like you said, Gavin. I feel like that just would have worked so much better.
Because they don't really blend well, if at all. And I feel like Granite is a great example of this because it sounds like a 2010s like pop song or like Imagine Dragons or Ed Sheeran or something.
I said it sounds like Post Malone. A lot of the songs on this album sound like Post Malone.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that.
I love Post Malone.
Me too.
I no hate to Posty out here, but I literally wrote like boop 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 intro, like it's all electronic.
Yeah, like the
and then
track
I was
keys.
like, okay, so we're going for a Post Malone feel, and I was like, where's the guitar? We don't need it. And then it comes in,
Yes.
and I went, okay, well now we don't need it because you've established half the song already before you touch the like it's almost
metal.
like they were recording and then they're like, oh fuck, we
this is
forgot
a
to get
metal
the
album.
guitar from the side. Like my pedal wasn't on this whole time. Like that's what it feels like. And it's like I like that they're trying to add the metal elements. Like I like that, especially for like the intro metal theme.
Yeah.
If you're someone who likes Post Malone or whatever, you'll love this. But I feel once again the disjointedness. Like
Yes, it just
need
happens.
layering. Like you can't just get you gotta, black and white. There needs to be a gray area.
You got to build to it.
Yeah.
You got to like mix it. You got to blend it. But they don't really do that here. There's just like it's a Post Malone song. There's a metal breakdown, and they're just smashed together.
Yeah, there's another song here that I'll talk about it when we get to it, but that does it a little bit better. where
Yeah,
even though the
later down the
guitar,
line.
like it was predictable, I'm like the guitar's gonna hit, but they did other things to it.
Yeah.
Like they made the distortion up on the other elements so that when the guitar hit, it didn't feel like that. And this one, it didn't do that. It was like oh boop boop, and you're like okay, electronic hip hop. Like I'm vibing with it. It's a good song overall, but like this one was like a 3 out of 5 for me. But it felt like there was like afterthought. Like there was no like
It's like, oh shit, this is a metal album. Oh fuck, breakdown.
like once again it feels like they're like, oh shit, my amp wasn't on this whole time. Let's just start going,
I feel like if they just made like an industrial R&B or industrial house album, this it would have been so hype. Like honestly, I feel like even his delivery would have been perfect for that. As
100%.
As a metal artist, I don't think his delivery is like the best for the genre.
Definitely not.
But when he when he goes into like the metal like vibes, I feel like it really works. It just I feel like they're kind of riding between two lanes. I know they go on the left lane like when they drive. But like I feel like they're kind of caught in the middle a little bit.
They're stuck in the median.
Exactly. They're just on the yellow line. All the cars are trying to get past it. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm sorry.
It makes sense to me.
Yes.
I feel like they just need to lean into one of the sides just a bit more for it to sound a bit more like
or at least blend the lines better. Yeah.
Like there's no problem. Once again, like I love genre bending. I love when people can take classical music and
Metal,
right? And can combine them. I love when people take, jazz and hyperpop and put them together. Like I love when you can do that successfully. And here I feel like they were really close, but I feel like they just a little more blending. And that's my main problem with this album is that the blending, not only with the songs, but as the album as a whole,
Yeah, this album, another flaw, as Matt and I were discussing, is way too long.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
just a little more Adam Sandler.
just a little
blending.
more.
We are blending.
Yes, this moves very slowly, and it needs to move much like Adam Sandler at a medium pace.
Exactly.
So,
We're at a Jack and Jill. We can get to a blended sort of a.
God, I hope we can get to like fucking Big Daddy or something.
Shall we continue to track number 4?
Yes. Aqua Regia.
Aqua Regia.
Aqua Regia. I quite like the song. I think
too.
it's very good.
Yes.
Probably my favorite. Not a lot of metal elements.
I said it kind of sounds like Nick Jonas to me for some reason.
I can kind of see where you're coming from with that.
The intro reminded me of being underwater or
Yes.
in a cave, and I really like that.
Especially from Nick Jonas's like newest album, Spaceman. I could very much see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I haven't heard the newer.
It's
but
okay.
I'll give it a try.
It is funny you mentioned that because I have like the same notes that like the keys in the beginning are very like underwater feeling. It reminds me of another metal song by a band called Turnstile called Underwater Boy, which I feel like does this shtick but better because it's more so metal than like a piano ballad.
Yeah.
But the pianos are very nice on here.
I said it reminds me of like when you go to a fancy dinner party and there's like the piano playing in the background. It was nice. I really like that. There's nothing like technically wrong with it. It was cohesive to itself. My main problem is this song was phenomenal. I really liked it. I actually added it to my playlist. Like it's really good. But this is the family album, not the family song, right? So we're looking at it in the album perspective.
Yeah.
If you played, once again, not to take it back to the summoning, but that's where I started. So I'm viewing everything from the summoning lens.
Yeah.
If you played this song and that song back to back, I would not believe that it was by the same band.
No, yeah.
We're on the same album.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like when you're selling an album, sometimes cohesion is nice, you know?
Yeah.
Not everything has to blend together, but, you know, really...
It should fit together.
It sounds like two different genres entirely. And I know that, like, I've heard some criticism, like, when I talk about how I don't like sound, people are like, well, with Spotify and everything, people aren't buying CDs. They're not buying vinyl, like, as much, unless you're, like, a hardcore collector. Like, people listen for songs. They're the casual listeners like I am. So people are not going to make albums that are cohesive because only one or two songs are going to get popular anyway. They're trying to make bops so that TikTok will pick up on one or two songs from it. That's what they're doing. And I'm like, I see that. This song's a bop though. Like, fucking love
it's
it.
good.
It's like I said, if it's like a 4 out of 5, it knocked off 1 point because the album doesn't feel cohesive. But I think that's not really a fair assessment because I guess neither does the summoning at that point either. So I guess this one could go like a 4.5 or 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. Honestly.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's quite ambient.
Yes.
I wasn't expecting it, but it's quite ambient. And I really fuck with the lyrics in this one.
Okay.
Like, actually, I didn't pick any out, but they make a lot of, like, mythological, like... They do that later down the line, too, right?
Yeah.
But they start... Is it this one? They start talking about Olympus?
Something
I'm pretty
like
sure.
that, I think. Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I fuck with mythology. So I'm like, you know what? I'll take it.
That's cool.
This one's
Thanks,
solid.
Sleep Token.
Yeah.
So we go from one of the best tracks on the album to, in my opinion, one of the worst.
This song was a lot. This is track number 5, Vore. This song was a lot. I think on principle, I can't like a song that's titled Vore.
No, it reminds me of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I hate that.
And you know what? I'm going to say it. I like this song instrumentally.
Okay, yes, fair.
I can see that, yes.
I am glad I can't understand the lyrics.
Yeah.
When he's like going
Screaming.
at it and screaming, I can't understand what he's saying. And that added to my enjoyment of the song. And then AJ brought up to me, "Are you looking at the lyrics?" And I went, "No, I'm not." And I looked.
Jesus, I'm looking at them right now.
Yeah.
So you know that one part where he's like, "Oh, we're in the throat of God." If Ghost said that, it would be like girl bossy. It would be like a sleigh. When they say it, it just made me go like,
Yeah.
Like I feel
Flirting versus sexual harassment.
They also have the whole motif of like being anti like religion, like
so it makes
contrarian.
sense. Yeah.
This just kind of feels like I'm deep throat.
Edgy,
They're
yeah.
God's deep throating me.
Yeah.
In his walls of flesh.
Yeah, and once again, like it's not to kink shame people. I think that once again, art, music, it's all combined. You can explore whatever you want. But like the song itself is fine. Instrumentally, I like that it actually felt like metal. It felt like it was supposed to be on this album. It felt like it was supposed to be Sleep Token, yay, metal. I just like, once again, the lyrics made me go like, you know, but then that's not unique to this song.
Yeah.
As we'll explore later. I like song. I don't listen to lyrics. Like I don't pay attention. Yeah. And that has gotten me in trouble quite a few times when I play a song and people are like, "What did that guy just say?"
Me too.
And I'm like,
Because I'll bring albums to AJ, like kind of going back to Bastille's Give Me the Future. And so many of the lyrics, I just kind of paid attention to sort of like the techno, like, you know, club music.
The synthwave stuff.
I didn't even know there was like a whole fucking part about like virtual porn and shit. And I was like, oh, okay.
I see.
Yeah, like I like the vocalization before you can start understanding what he's saying.
Yeah,
Like,
I think the screaming is cool. I
Yeah.
don't think he can pull it off that well though, because I've seen it done better.
Yeah.
but like it's just like a little. It's not punchy enough.
Yeah, it's really technically hard
Yeah.
to do that. Like really without really destroying his
Yeah.
voice. It's fine. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed the song. I put it like a 3 out of 5 because when you don't look up the lyrics, it's I liked it. Like, and
Ignorance
then
is bliss.
And then you ruined it for me. So, and I should have known by the title. But you think I was looking at the fucking title, bro? Like I wasn't the first time I listened to this. So
Same here.
yeah, I was like, let me do a casual listen and then like a breakdown listen. Nope. I had
Yeah.
to pause before I saw the title of this one and paused.
Pause.
I have a confession to make. I was actually watching when I was listening to this album. I was actually at a volleyball game watching, like, because that's where my internship
Yeah.
is. I work with like the sports at my school,
Mm-hmm.
and I was watching a volleyball game, and I remember I was like, oh, this one's interesting, because I also was not paying attention to the
Yeah.
lyrics, and I looked at the title, I was like, oh,
God, I hope someone doesn't walk by right now.
Yeah, it's
hey Matt, what you listening to?
it's
Oh, you
just,
like Sonic the Hedgehog too?
Oh man. Yeah, no, I also kind of admired the screaming here, but I don't know anything about like metal vocalism or whatever
Yeah.
like that, because I could never do that.
Yeah.
So I always admire when people do it, but
it
like
takes years. People think that you can just
Nah.
scream. No, like, and this is coming from someone who's like a haunted house actor and all this shit. Like, you can't just like, I've blown my voice out so many times because you have to support it. Like, a lot of the screaming kind of comes from it, like, when you sigh and you go like, it comes from that, not from your vocal cords, but like the, and then you support it with your diaphragm and get that sound. Insanely hard to do properly, which is why I love metal. Like, I love Disturbed. Like, I don't know his name, but the Disturbed front man, like his sound,
Mr. Disturbed, yeah.
when like if you've heard his singing voice, you're like, that's the same guy, and he doesn't destroy it because he knows how to do it properly, and that's the same thing here. I feel like he's still getting the technique down. Doesn't mean it's like bad. I just think that like from a technical standpoint, like it could be better, but
Yeah.
it's good.
no, I get it.
Yeah.
All right, shall I move on?
Absolutely.
Next up is Ascensionism. I feel like this track is a little bit of a Trojan horse, as it starts off with like a little piano ballad, and then it goes right back into the fucking 2010s Post Malone, Imagine Dragons type thing, and then I just lose interest, just tanks for me.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. I did mention like that it kind of sounds like Bastille's like newer songs in the middle of it. Yeah, the piano is very, very nice. I kind of wish it wasn't 7 minutes long.
Agreed.
Just a little bit.
This is where the song started to drag on for me. Like, I feel like you could have cut 2/3 of the song out and it would have been a fine song. You could have kept certain elements of it. I said the piano at the beginning reminded me. Are you guys familiar with Homestuck at all?
I unfortunately am not.
I know of it, but I never read
Do you know
it.
Toby Fox?
Yes.
I don't think I do.
Toby Fox. Undertale.
He composed
Did
Undertale.
all the music for
Oh,
Undertale.
okay. I've only played Undertale once, and I played it the wrong way.
Okay. Well, Toby Fox did all the music for Undertale.
Okay.
Toby Fox did a shit ton of the music for Homestuck, and I was a Homestuck guy for years. And the opening reminded me of this song called Unite Synchronization from Homestuck. I don't know if that's a Toby Fox song or not, so I'm sorry for any of my Homestuck
But it's in Homestuck.
fans out
Yeah.
there. Yes, but it reminded me of like a Homestuck
Yeah.
song, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm 13 years old again, like lying in a bathtub full of Sharpies and alcohol.
That's a good bit. That's a good reference.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it feels like he's using a lot of purple prose and like big buzzwords like chemtrails and it's like he opened a thesaurus and then just immediately
Pink
was
nails.
like he was like. It seems like
It's try hard.
yes,
Yeah.
like aside from the fact that it's disjointed, like we're not going to get into that again because
Yeah.
we already know it's disjointed. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
one cohesive song. The metal randomly kicks in and you're like, what the fuck? Like it's supposed to be Post Malone and now it's not. Like he was using a lot of buzzwords and like it just seemed like he was using like big words for the sake of using big words. Like they didn't have
or to fit a
meaning.
rhyme. Yeah.
They didn't have meaning in them, and that's not like you don't need big words to do that. Like you could just get your point across and not make this 7 fucking minutes of my life that I'm never getting back, like
I mean, the metal breakdown was cool. Just kind of wish they, eased us in a little
build
bit more.
onto it.
yeah.
Instead of just like slap me in the face a little bit, just a little. But I mean, hey, listen, I haven't made an album,
That's also true.
Maybe I should be a little less critical.
I I don't give a shit. We're the consumer.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we're just giving our honest opinions. If we don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah.
And like, hey, that's cool to made an album, but not everyone has to like it.
Sorry guys, I'm a newbie on the show.
This is my first day.
Why is this stop? Why am I getting hesitant now in season 2?
Matt, we've been through the thick of it already.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
On to Are You Really Okay? This song's just kind of lame.
I don't have a lot to say about this song other than that it doesn't have to be 5 minutes long.
No.
I was bored. The lyrics were edgy, like as I was expecting.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, that's just edgy, then edgier than it needed to be.
Once again, slow and lumbering.
I also just said like, so the piano and heavy bass at the end was pretty good. But I'm not, and it was pretty, but I'm not listening to metal for like pretty specifically, you know? But I said that the hardest this song went was less than the hardest song that the band I'm in has done. And that shouldn't, like, we're not a metal band by any stretch.
Yeah, I guess we should also mention Gavin and I are in a band.
Yes, we are
with
in a band
Fataday.
together. With Fataday. You'll never guess what the band is called. It's funny because the hardest songs we've played felt harder than this.
Yeah.
And we're not a metal band. Like, we're pop rock. And a pop rock band should not be playing harder songs than a metal band.
Yeah, I feel like they're taking, because this album is considered prog metal, and they're really stretching that. like when I think of prog metal, I think of like Tool. I think of like complex time signatures with like metal riffs and such. But like this is just like progressive in the terms that it's different.
Yeah.
But like they can't really get away with it because a lot of the tracks don't really sound like metal, which I guess is a benefit to some, but I feel like it's a detriment for this album.
For the intro metal theme, it works.
Yeah.
But this song, it just felt boring. Like I felt like I could have taken the album without it because that's just over five or 6 minutes now that didn't like wasted time.
It's just bloated.
Yeah.
Okay, this might be an unpopular opinion. I was really not expecting a song like this on the album. Like, then again, I feel like I've said that roughly like 3 or 4 times at this point. I, oddly enough, kind of like this track. I felt that there was an odd sincerity within some of these lyrics. I do agree that they could be a little less like, oh, I'm trying to be edgy. And I'm going to go back to what you said in the beginning about how if you look at each track individually, it's like not bad.
Yeah.
But in the context of it all being like together, this album does not fit tonally whatsoever. So I can appreciate it for its like own separate thing. But I also feel like after the 7-minute ordeal that was Ascensionism, and
adding
then
5 more on top of that,
and then some of the later shit too, I'm like, you know what? I don't know. But I did actually add this to one of my playlists because I like the overall sound. I just don't really think it fits.
Yeah.
and that's fair.
And I also don't think this should be under the really stretched out umbrella that they're claiming to be progressive metal.
Yeah.
I feel like once again, it's not bad.
It's not.
And as I was gonna say, even in this next song, "The Apparition," I don't know if we want to move on to that
we
yet,
can
but
move on.
I was just gonna say, one of my notes is that none of the songs on this album, up to this point, I want to stress, up to this point, were awful.
Yeah.
They're all pretty good. I could listen to them, but once again, I'm coming at it from the lens of like, they set the bar really high and then just dropped it and dug a hole. And that's where some of these songs are.
Yeah.
It's not bad. I just feel like, it's not really.
It's not the summoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once again, the blending is an issue on The Apparition. The beginning, that sounded like a siren, like wee woo, like I don't know. I said it's not awful. I just wish that like if they wanted to incorporate the metal bit more instead of hitting you in the face like a train, like they have been, if they took like the guitar and instead of that weird siren wee woo electronic noise,
Put
they
that in
could
there
have
instead.
put that in there instead and blended it really well, and then this song would have been pretty good.
Because as it is,
overall.
it's pretty forgettable for me.
I can't even remember what this sounded like at this point. I listened to it this morning.
Same.
For like the 3rd time.
I feel like from Ascensionism onward, my attention span is just gone.
Yeah, there's one song I remember.
It's
heavy.
coming up.
It's coming up.
But yeah, I don't really have much to say about this song. It was just kind of generic. I mean, there's some like cool keys in there. It's a little more metal with a little bit of like a synthwave influence in there, which is kind of neat. But other than that, I really got nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
I wrote something in my notes that I have no idea what it means. I wrote, I would like it, but in the comics of this one, it isn't working. I guess it's just not accurate to the comic. What comics is this based off of?
So there is actually there is lore to this band.
Oh, shit.
I don't know a lot about it, but like they have costumes similar to Ghost. Also all their album artwork is really fucking cool. They release like album art for like all the singles. Check it out. It's actually really well done. But they have like lore and like all their 2 previous albums connect to this, and there's like a story being told.
Okay.
I don't really know what it is, but hey, that's really cool.
Is it like Vore?
Are there
Being trapped in an underwater cave? Like,
I'm not sure. I think it's more so.
oh my god, the cave is the Alaskan bullworm. It bored me.
Shit.
I think it's more so to do with gods and love, and like servitude, something like that.
I think Vore might have been about the Alaskan bullworm taking Sandy's tail.
Yes.
Oh shit.
You're right. And Sandy, it's her odyssey going back inside the worm to get the tail.
Oh God.
The warmth enveloped her as she reached.
Oh God. Moving on.
Oh, you want to move on to the #1 song on the album?
DYWTYLM, or Do You Wish That You Loved Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty good, Gavin.
That was pretty
I
good.
did not join in until the last word because I forgot what it was called.
That's okay.
So I need you to understand what I'm looking at my phone right here, my notes, my Google Doc with all the notes on it. So the apparition, I wrote, none of these songs are really awful so far. And then Do You Wish That You Love Me came on, and in all caps with typos, it says, I stand corrected.
I also wrote this song is just dumb. It sounds
sucks.
It sounds like Bastille, but like even worse.
More like ass steel.
So my notes, I guess I was just really feeling it this morning. It sounds like 10 songs already written.
Yes.
It sounds like Ed Sheeran.
Yes.
And I said, it sounds like it should be in the Trolls movie. You know, the one with like Justin Timberlake where he's like, well, singing killed my grandma, okay? Well, this is the song that killed his grandma. This is it. This is the song he was singing.
They have a sleep token.
I'm dead because of you.
Do you wish that you love me? Grandma, no! Oh my God! Oh, the bird!
Dude, I hate this song. Like, it's, again, it has the 2010s pop keys in there. So I made an anagram for what I thought the song stood for. Don't yank willies that you left muddy.
Why were they leaving him muddy?
I don't ask me. I sleep token. They wrote the song.
These are also very odd lyrics. I did put that down. I mean, most of the lyrics on here are kind of like, you know, what?
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to be honest, I really didn't pay attention to much of them unless they were like super catch my attention, like Vore.
All I really got was, do you wish that you loved me? And I was like, I skipped it like 2/3 of the way in because it was, and there's no metal at all.
No, there's these weird like baby auto-tune screeches going, oh wow, oh wow, oh wow. Ooh, ooh, listen to my album.
Yeah.
Oh man.
God. Yeah, it was. And I said, if I had to choose why I don't like it, like, it just sounds basic. And once again, not to be like, oh, you're a poser if you like the song. You can like the song, that's totally fine. I like songs that sound like this, but this one really sounds like just Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
And I'm not listening to Sleep Token for Ed Sheeran. I'm listening to Sleep Token for Sleep Token. If this is what Sleep Token has to offer me, I'm not really listening for Sleep Token.
I'm going to keep my eyes closed if this is what Sleep Token has to offer me.
Yeah.
Moving on to Rain. Again, this one's pretty forgettable to me. I got really nothing much to say about it.
I don't have anything to say about it.
Yeah.
I won't fucking lie to you. I only have something to say about the 11th track, and that is it.
Fair.
I do not have anything to say about Rain or Euclid.
I was going to say Rain. The only thing I really had was that, once again, it's kind of forgettable. This is the one song. I forgot what it was when I was talking about it earlier because that's how forgettable it was. But this is the one song where I knew it's predictable at this point, the guitar is going to come in, but they used like heavy distortion on some other stuff, like the piano and everything, to the point that when the guitar came in, I felt like, okay, this one is actually balanced pretty well.
I also like how the guitars like mimic Vessel's vocals here too.
Yes.
That's a nice production technique.
I did like that a lot.
Plus the studio imagery with the thunderstorms and the rain. I feel like that's actually a nice touch as well.
Yeah. I feel like it was fine. Forgettable. It was like a 3 out of 5 for me. Like I just don't remember.
Yeah. But,
AJ, when you said the Gar, I thought you were about to say the Gargunga Bogs. I got like so excited. I was like, wow, they're making a comeback after a whole year of us not talking about them.
Oh, they're always in our hearts.
They're out there with like all the British people and the metalheads right now.
Exactly. Oh, there they are. I can hear them scream.
Gargunga, Gargunga.
There they get them.
You need to listen to.
Well, we're almost done. Take me back to Eden. So shall we get on to the title track?
Yes.
Oh, 8 minutes?
8 minutes.
8 minutes. Oh, God.
There's no reason for it to be that long.
No.
You know how I said that I had something to say about this track?
Yeah.
The only note I have is this song is way too long.
Yeah. Agreed.
Like, listen, I'm sure for people who are really like devout to what the song is in the context of the other stuff they've written, I'm sure this is like, oh my God, this is the epiphany we needed in the storyline. But for an outsider's perspective who's not really in touch with the lore, I'm just kind of like, this is an 8-minute song that
doesn't earn the runtime.
No, I can't tell you a single memorable thing about this track.
I actually do have some memorable things about this track to discuss.
Oh, please tell me.
First of all, it sounded like they were trying to add motifs from the other songs so far.
Okay,
There was a section that sounded like, "Do you wish that you love me?" And I almost ripped my headphones out. But the 6-minute mark, there's a part there that like it doesn't feel that bad. It actually got a little bit interesting. I just feel like they could have cut that out. But then the 7-minute mark, it got really heavy all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love this. And then the song just faded out like within 30 seconds. And I was like, what the hell? Like, you can't just add the most interesting part in the last minute and then just take it away. Like, I feel like it was like really harsh. It was really like what I look for in metal. But it was like the last 45 seconds to like a minute.
Yeah.
And then they took it away. And I feel like you could have cut out the first 7 minutes and had that, and that would have been fine by me.
Yeah. Because besides that, it's mostly just what we've been hearing.
Yes,
Just like
it
Fataday
feels like-
2010 stuff.
Like they were taking 10 or 15 seconds of each song and then really building on it. And it's like, I haven't liked the album so far, so of course I didn't like the song. If they're trying to add the motifs from the other songs back in here. That's just how I felt. I don't think that was intentional.
Like,
but I could hear other parts of other songs in there. Yeah.
If they could pull it off well, then I think it'd be earned, especially for like a penultimate track. That's like this. That's like an epic. But they don't do it well. They just kind of like, again, just kind of put the ideas together, but they never blend them.
Like they'd have the idea and then it would slow down. And then they would add it back up again. And I'm like, you could have just cut the slow parts, made the song 4 minutes. It would have still sounded like ass.
Yeah.
And guess what? I still would not have enjoyed it either way. And I would have saved 4 minutes of my life. Like,
all right. Well, we're pretty much done this album. Last track is Euclid. I got nothing to say about this track.
I don't even fucking remember it.
All I said was SCP.
It sounds like Bastille, and I hate it. I hate
That's
it
fair.
for the love of God. The vocal layering, it was weird. The random, like, I said, okay, what the random kick up of guitars back to piano? I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. I just wanted the album to be over by the 2-minute mark. This song was just kind of nothing great, nothing absolutely terrible. It was just a bit boring, and I would have liked more grit from the whole thing. Oh, as an album closer, I felt like it was fine, I guess.
Yes.
It did encompass what the album gave, which was not much. So that's what my note. I had no idea what I was talking about.
I agree with that. Like it very much sounds like a closer.
Yeah.
But for this album especially, but I don't really feel anything for it as a song either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that'll bring us to our final thoughts. So Gavin, what did you think of Take Me Back to Eden by Sleep Token?
Probably like a 2 out of 5, I think was the average, if I'm reading this correctly. It just sounded disjointed. The highs were really high and the lows were really low, I feel.
Yeah.
And I feel like everything else just kind of forgettable. Coming in from The Summoning, I feel like I would have had different expectations if I had not heard that first.
Yeah.
Or if it was like the last song of the album or something, I would have been like, what the hell, you know? But I feel like, once again, like tik-tok finds the one song and then blows it up, and then everything else felt like it was an afterthought. Like, I feel like they had their hands in too many pots, and they were really trying to, you know,
Cater to everyone.
Yeah, it's like my favorite ingredients are onions and chocolate.
And 2010's Trap Keys.
Yes, and like cheddar cheese. Okay, well, onions and chocolate and cheddar cheese are fine on their own, but if you put them together in one pot, it's gonna taste like shit. And that's kind of what this album did. They had too many ideas that were fine on their own, but I feel like they really just tried to put it together sloppily.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Good way to put it. Matt, what'd you think?
Okay, so one thing, I have another thing to also add besides what I wrote here, but I'll start off by reading what I wrote, because I, in family album fashion, I always write a paragraph at the end. I do oddly like the production of this album. I think it's fine. It feels a bit random in terms of what sound they're looking for. Like you just said, too many like their hands are in too many pots. That was the phrase, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I have a habit of like not speaking correctly. I can see people looking at this album and like as a whole and it coming off as really tonally inconsistent. I appreciate them trying to mix things up and trying to blend and genre bend as much as they can. And there are like one or two tracks that I think are fairly atmospheric, which I also can appreciate because I like being able to just like, I don't know. I like when songs sound really open and stuff like that. Like, what was the one that I said that I liked? Are You Really Okay? I actually kind of like that one. I feel like if they just kind of like blended it a little bit better and just eased us in a little bit better, it would have been fine. 1 second they're trying to do metal. The next second they sound like Bastille. The next second they sound like Post Malone or whatever. And it's just kind of all over the place. And I feel like it's just too much stuff. Not enough space. I don't want to say it. I didn't want to say it like that, but I had to. In terms of pacing, even though this album is the album I'm about to say is so different from this album.
Yes.
I would say like the way I feel about this album is kind of the same way I feel about Twin Fantasy by Car Seat Headrest in terms of like there's just way too much like wordiness. The delivery is just not like really doing it justice. No offense to Will Toledo. Is that his name? From Car Seat Headrest. Shout out to our, what is that? That's one of our other guest episodes with Andrew Marshall.
It's episode 8, I think.
Twin Fantasy, and then God Save the Animals by Alex G. Anyway, I kind of feel the same way in terms of that. Like, I feel like there was just kind of like way too many things they're trying to fit in. It was longer than it needed to be. That was another thing. And the delivery really just did not, in my opinion, suit it very much. They were more tonally consistent, though.
Car Seat Headrest? Agreed.
Even 100%. Though apparently it was the original was recorded on a 3DS.
Which is still really cool.
But yeah, I don't know. In terms of rating, I didn't actually write a rating down.
Off the cuff?
Off the cuff, I would give this maybe like out of 10... Probably like a 4.3, 4.4 out of 10. And then probably the production was fine enough for me. So I could bear with giving it a low C.
I was going to say C tier. It's fair.
It's fair.
Once again, the songs that were really good, Aqua Regia, The Summoning, Jesus Christ, The Summoning, like I'll put it into S for me. But then, of course, like everything else really bumped it down. So that's fair.
So again, pretty much what everyone else said. I like musically, they're very talented musicians. I feel like when it's like the heavy metal stuff, I feel like it's very effective and done very well. But again, with the different ideas, like more so with the pop elements, I don't really fuck with. Vessel's vocals, I'm just not a fan of. That's just a personal thing for me. The songwriting is fine in parts, but really weird in others. And the aesthetic is cool, I guess, but it's just not really anything that's going to boost the album for me. And just like personally, it's a slog to get through, and I just don't enjoy listening to it at all. Like, it's just like a waste of time, in my opinion, for me at least. So I'm going to give this like a D tier. I really do not care for this album, though Aqua Regia and The Summoning are very good. And yeah, that'll do it for Taking Back to Eden. So now we can move on to our next album. The Sickness by Disturbed.
Very interesting. Listening to these in the same time span, very fascinating. But I'm glad I did it because I remember someone had said that this was a good album. I don't really remember who, but I remember they were like, "Oh, if you like this, you would like this." So I'm glad I finally gave it a listen. Should we do a history? Should I? Do you want to do it, or should you want me to do it?
Let me pull it up.
I didn't do anything.
Got some history.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I have some history.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't do shit for this.
Let me put on my...
It's okay, Matt. Your presence is all we need.
Let me put on my sultry, like, radio voice. And I want you to put some jazz music.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The Sickness is a debut studio album by American heavy metal band Disturbed. It was released on March 7th, 2000 by Giant and Reprise Records. The album peaked at number 29 on the US Billboard 200 and spent a total of 106 weeks. 106 weeks? That's like crazy. 2 fucking years.
Yeah, that's wild.
On the charts. It was Disturbed's only album to not hit number 1 on the US Billboard 200 until their 7th album, Evolution, debuted at number 4 in 2018. In 2018, The Sickness was certified 5 times platinum.
Holy shit, damn,
That's
dude.
wild.
by the RIAA for shipments of over 5 million copies in the US, making it the band's most successful album. He also, my family jokes about it, he looks like a toenail coming out of like a toe.
Yeah,
He does.
I was gonna
on
say
the album cover.
I was gonna say he looks like Zordon from Power
Oh, yeah.
Rangers if he like fell hard into drugs.
We call it the toenail album.
He does look like a toenail.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Like, and the reason we call it the toenail album and I refer to it as such is because I listened to this when I was like 5 or 6. My parents, once again, they had me growing up on this. Like, I grew up on this. I grew up on him. I grew up on like Gorillaz. I grew up
System
on
of a Down.
System of a Down. Well, yeah, I started getting to that more, but
Okay.
I did hear, yes, like
Okay.
I'm familiar. Like, I grew up with like parents who were like, you know, punk rock,
Yeah.
you know, on the front cover of a newspaper for protesting. That was my mom.
Oh, cool.
Yes, I definitely grew up with this. My stepfather, Evanescence, big, you know, Avenged Sevenfold guy. So Disturbed, this album has a place in my heart. I
see.
don't like, of course, everything on it. I was listening again today and I'm like, there's only really 3 or 4
Yeah.
songs I really actually enjoy off this album, but I have a soft spot for it. I don't know. I grew up with this, so.
Well, shall we just hop right into it then?
Before we do, that was lovely history. I love the whole ambiance
Yes,
with the
the
music.
sultry voice.
It's going to pair so very, very
The music
well.
that we can totally hear right
Yeah,
now.
Yes, exactly.
I want it to
Exactly.
be like, boo-dee-doo.
Do-do-do-do-do-do.
We got some nice little like drums with it's like stirring the soup. You know what
Yeah,
I mean
dude.
with the
So
with
the
the
brushes.
brushes. I'm in jazz band. But anyway, shall we dive in?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes.
Starting off, we have voices. Matt, this song has the same exact keys as Victorious by Death of a Bachelor. I am not kidding. They sound identical.
Really?
The ba-dum, 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 ba-dum.
Oh
Yep,
my
right?
God.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
say that. That's one of my favorite songs on the album, this one. So.
I agree. This one's pretty good.
Victorious.
Well, this one came first.
Yes.
And I like it better than Death of a Bachelor.
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
This one's, what, 4 or 5 times platinum?
Yeah, and what is Death of a
So.
Bachelor?
bad.
Exactly.
It's a bad chiller.
Exactly. That's pretty good, man.
Thank you very much. I'm here all for the rest of my life. Anyway, the voices, or it's just voices.
Just voices.
I'm just hearing the voices. I'm not the. Okay, I will be honest with you. I do like the delivery of the vocals all across the board in this album. Way better than Sleep Token.
Agreed.
Of course.
Because I can actually kind of hear what he's saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's also-
and it's heavier too.
It's also
Yeah.
not like, because the thing I also didn't like about Sleep Token's delivery was that he was also kind of singing in cursive.
Yeah.
And I hate cursive singing like so much. But
To the bay. I'm to the bay.
I really fuck with the guitar on
Yeah,
this
man.
title track.
Yes.
No, it's not the title track. Sorry, the opener. I always do that.
I had a note about the guitar too. I said that they do killer guitar, and this song really exemplifies that.
Yes.
It's. I love the guitar in the song. It really is powerful.
Also, I love the chorus on the song too. It's so catchy.
Yes.
And I love like how like the techno keys just kind of like sprinkle in there, which is pretty cool. And Disturbed is very good at writing catchy hooks and choruses, which happens a lot on this album, which I quite like a lot. And I think this is just a really solid opener just to kick this thing off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of this album, what I used to describe it is that like it scratches the itch in my brain. A lot of these songs like do that. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone.
Yeah.
No, I
you're
can
good.
see. Yeah.
Like thank you all my other neurodivergent folks out there who understand, but like there's itchy songs and there's scratchy songs and there's sharp songs and there's round songs, and this is like a scratchy, like it when my brain is itchy, I need something like this to like
Yeah.
really get in there, like all the nooks and crannies, and this does it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it does to me. I feel like I feel like something is lifted when I listen. Like it's like a physical response to the song. It's just like, yeah, you know. I don't know.
Totally.
No,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Anything else about voices?
No, I'm actually really excited to talk about the next one.
All right.
Yes.
Next up, we have The Game. I know you were a big fan of this one, Gavin.
I really fuck with this track a lot.
I do.
Like a lot.
The first time I heard it, I was like, it's kind of mid. But I feel like once they get into like, is she alright? Is she
Yeah.
okay? Once they get into
Yeah.
run from the battle, you know, like once
Yeah.
they get into that part, I'm literally like, I'm in my car driving, I'm like headbanging and stuff. Like I can see why my stepfather would always be doing the air guitar. Like I get it. And
There's some
I love-
cool syncopation here.
I love
yeah.
the like,
Oh, yeah.
rumbity, rumbity, ba, rumbity,
Oh, the core and phlegm scatting?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love it. Like it once again, the lyrics, I feel like Disturbed has some like cringy lyrics.
Yes.
And Cringe is dead. This is coming from a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Homestuck fan. Like I'm a big cosplayer. Like Cringe is dead to me. I like to let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
But sometimes when I listen to this, Never Lie to Me, I'm like, okay, well, it's kind of weak for the song.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, this was like a 4 out of 5 for me. I really like this track.
Instrumentally, I feel like this album is very good. Like everything hits very hard. Lyrically, I think it suffers a lot.
Yeah.
As you did mention, it's funny you mentioned this. The second time I've heard the Disturbed's cringy lyrics, because Ben, I told him that we were doing this album. He's a big new metal guy. He was like, yeah. So the thing about Disturbed is like they're just really fucking cringy with their lyrics.
Yeah. I agree. I think that some lyrics, like, I like, never lie to me. I'm like, okay, well, I feel like,
it's a little try-hard, a little edgy.
yes.
Yeah.
But I listen to this so much, it's probably going to be in my top 5 on Spotify this year when the Wrapped comes out.
Okay.
So circle back with me in 2 months and we'll,
See that holds up.
yeah. But the more I listen to it, the more it grew on me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Totally.
I really like the techno elements on this track a lot.
Yeah.
I love how like chunky the bass sounds when they. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like N64 sound font.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of configurations of like N64 sound font like covers that were on YouTube circulating last year. And it's just real, like in the bass especially. I'm just like, this is really nice.
This is one of my like dream covers for the bass. Like I want to start playing bass like more and playing more covers because I feel like if I don't want to practice like the songs I have, like let me learn new songs. And this and like Conflict later on down the line are like my bass cover dreams. Like I just want to like be able to just shred. And now that I have a distortion pedal, I can just fucking do it. So I'm very excited about that. But
Hell yeah.
The bass is one of the. I'm looking at this really rhythmically, like being a bassist, and so like the bass and the drums for me are like some of the good selling points. But the guitar also is just phenomenal. Like I love it.
The "Is She Not Right" part of the song, like that part is so like
I know it just hits.
it really really does. Oh shit! What was I gonna
Sorry,
say?
I didn't mean to moan like that.
That's what I was like. That's what this
was
album
you?
does.
I thought that was, the creature.
Oh fuck!
I think he's in the walls again.
Shit.
Do you hear the
so-
scratching?
We have come to a development that we might be cool with him, but
We kind of talked to him the last time. We weren't really feeling up to his invasiveness.
Yeah.
But oh shit! He's in the room.
Oh, he's here.
Nate.
Hey,
hi.
what's up, man?
How you doing?
What's in your pocket, my man?
Oh my god. Wait.
Oh God, Gavin, you okay?
Yes, I'm okay.
Okay, glad to hear. Oh, that's gonna be something we have to look out for in the future.
Yeah,
I
for
think.
real.
Okay.
You gotta be worried.
Anyway, back to Disturbed. Anything else about the game?
You mentioned something about this is not a Disturbed thing, but you mentioned something about like bass shredding. Have you guys ever seen the video of Flea from
Red Hot Chili Peppers?
shredding, playing a bass cover of the national anthem?
I have not.
No, but I need to.
It's the wildest thing I've ever seen.
Is it any good?
I mean, I can't do it.
Okay.
So
I can barely play bass as it is.
I'll show you guys after we record. It's both obnoxious and incredible at the same time.
Cool.
But track number 3, Stupefy.
This one's a little silly for me. I
Fuck.
yeah, rocking a little bit.
All my people in the left wing.
Fuck!
Oh my god, I just got lightheaded. Oh man.
Like I think that again, going back to the lyrics, like the way that they write songs is a little weird. It's a little interesting. It's very repetitive in terms of their rhyme scheme and their structure. And here's probably the first example of that. But it's just like, and also like the way that they say it, it's like so like epic, but it's like really, it's a little silly.
This is, I'm probably jaded here and I'm looking at this through like rose colored glasses. This is a Gavin childhood classic.
Okay.
I remember my mom had this on the TV. Mind you, my mother is a deaf woman, right?
Yes.
She has probably 20-30% hearing out of one ear and she's completely deaf in the other ear. So of course, like this would be full volume blasted so she could hear it. And I remember my grandmother was coming over and this song was on and it was like on the on demand on,
Yeah.
the TV, and so they substitute it with rock instead of fuck, you know. And it was funny because my grandmother comes in and she sees me like sitting there dancing like this,
Crab killing in the
like,
living room.
You know, I was just like, oh yeah, you know, all that day in the body, oh fuck, you know, like she sees me like dancing, you know, and I'm like 6 years old or something, and my grandmother's really just like, is this what music is now? You know, like rest in peace, grandma, but damn, you know. I once again, lyrics are a little cringe. One thing I really love is after, it's kind of like after the first chorus, there's like that binaural, like dun 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 da 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 da
Yeah.
dun dun dun. You know, that really
that is cool.
It scratches that brain inch, and I really like the part that's like. Tefached.
Yeah, that part was interesting.
I love it. And so Tefached is actually, if I recall correctly, be afraid in Hebrew.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
interesting. I love it. That part, that breakdown, I'm always like, oh, you know, like I'm dancing. It's good. I said something about like the Don't Deny Me bridge was a bit weird. I like it. It's not as bad as it could have been. I said, I love the ending, like the look at my face and in my soul. And I said, I don't care how anyone else feels about it. And then it got to like the actual ending where it was like just random noises. And I was just like, oh, well, I don't like that part. They could have just cut that part off the rest of the song. It just felt like it's like, look at my face, you know, stupefied. And then it ends. I would have loved that. And then it just goes, and I'm just like, skip, you know? Like, I was like, I don't need
what
this.
is this?
Like, I like the abrupt ending. That to me was phenomenal, you know? So, yeah.
Again, the beat on this one is really sick. I think that's like something with new metal that I'm really good to. I'll have to find some other artists in like the new metal genre because I kind of was down for this. I was kind of down with the sickness in
If
other
you will.
terms.
I was down with the sickness.
No, like I really like the beat a lot. I love there's like this weird thing. I don't know what instrument this is, but it's some sort of like synthesized instrument. There's like an arpeggiation happening, like in, like it feels like it's above you almost. I don't even know how to describe it, but something about that, I was like, this is a nice little thing to add on to this. That's pretty much the main thing that I liked about this song, though. I like the techno elements when they're used well.
Yeah.
All across. That's kind of the big thing with this album for me. I like the usage of that.
I mean, it does make sense for the era 2000s. Yeah.
Because you're kind of trying to, he has kind of like a flow with a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
And I feel like at this point, there was like a lot of hip hop that people were really getting into.
Yeah, that's
kind of what new metal is, right?
Yep.
It's like kind of almost like a fusion of it using like metal. It's metal, but like
Hip
using
hop
like
and funk, yeah.
So I feel like it very much, it works
Yeah.
for what it's trying to do. And I think that's what I like the most about this song. Again, the lyrics, not really my jam that much, but yeah.
All right. Well, now we move on to basically the title track, probably Disturbed's most famous song.
Probably.
We have Down with the Sickness.
Down with the sickness.
I honestly, I started off really not liking this track.
Okay.
But then it really grew on me.
Yeah.
This is the funny thing about this album. Every single time I've listened to this, it's been in the morning.
Yeah.
So like,
Actually, yeah, same.
It's weird. Like, so I will constantly just go to like my school's cafeteria. I'll be eating my eggs and stuff like that, and having my hash browns, and I'll be down with the sickness, like as I'm just eating. You know what I mean? And it's like, I noticed that upon like the third time listening, I'm like, why do I only listen to this at like 8 or 9 in the morning?
I mean, it does pump you up. Like I listened to this like at work when I was listening to like both of the albums, and I was like, yeah, doing stuff like passively, I really enjoyed it because it was just like fun energy stuff. But sitting down more so analyzing it, not as much.
Yeah.
But it's still like a fun time.
For me, this song, I was like, why don't I have this on my liked songs on Spotify?
Oh, yes.
Yes. So first of all, I really like it. Everyone knows that. Oh, wow. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's
Good
so
hook.
hard to get that like correct, you know. I really like the guitar, especially like one of my favorite parts of the guitar is, you know, in the chorus when like the guitar just goes, like that to me is just so funny because imagine being like the lead guitar and your job is just to go,
It is
You
funny,
know?
like you say that. Like, there's like some cute like instrumental
Yeah.
elements where it sounds silly. Like the drums are playing on the ride cymbal.
Yeah.
It works, but it's like very like it's not what you would expect.
Well, and then of course I like you know, cringe lyrics, of course. And I said cringe is dead once again, coming from a FNAF fan. You know, working on a Bonnie anthropomorphic cosplay fursuit thing. So you know, whatever. You know, cringe is dead. But I said his vocal range really shines in this song.
Yes.
You really
definitely.
see like what he could do with his voice, and he has such a beautiful voice. Like,
my God, yeah.
like, phenomenal. And I said the breakdown after the second chorus, like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and it's in like the left channel too.
Yes,
yeah, that was cool.
part, like I could have a song of just that part, and then it gets ruined
By the mommy break.
by the mommy break.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I didn't want to talk about that part because like wasn't sure if it had like a huge like meaning behind it, and he was
Yes.
processing something crazy. So I
do have some information about that.
okay.
I as well.
I Googled it.
Yes.
I don't know if my sources are correct. I don't think he's ever been like
No.
abused as a child.
no.
Okay.
It's
Yes.
supposed to be more so a metaphor because the song is about society.
Yes.
It's a very weird metaphor though.
Yeah.
I feel
okay.
like they could have done it a little differently.
Yeah, or not at all.
Because yes, I feel like music is art.
Yes.
Art pushes boundaries.
Yes.
Music is, whether you like it or not, it's political.
Yes.
It's cultural. It speaks on so many things. And I think that especially metal is one of those genres that really pushes boundaries.
Yes,
It's very political.
definitely.
If you listen to music, System of a Down, it's about the Armenian genocide. Like it's really, it gets into all that stuff. And I'm fine with that. This dragged on for so long.
Yeah.
I could have handled maybe 10 seconds of it, but like we're pushing 45 seconds of him going like, "Oh,
Mommy,
be a good
no.
boy.
Hey,
Oh,
What are you
like,
doing, mommy?
Yeah.
You fucking whore, mommy.
Well, and then it's funny because
The silly chocolates.
no, because I remember one time I was driving to an anime convention with my friends in high school.
Yeah.
Because once again, cringe is dead. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was looking through his phone because he was like, "Oh, cue up some music. You're my passenger." So I was like, "Okay." So I'm queuing up some music, and I was like, "Oh, can I put on Down with the Sickness? Is everyone okay with that?" And he's like, "Yeah, but can you skip it?" And I was like, "Oh, I know." Like
Yeah.
I knew. And the one of the girls in the back was just like, "Wait, what do you mean? Like, what part are you skipping?" And we're just like, "Oh, it's like triggering, like genuinely triggering
Yeah.
to hear, simulated child abuse."
Yes.
And so she's just like, "Oh, 100% skip it." But then someone was just like, "Wait, actually, can we just hear it?" We got like 10 seconds into it. And the next thing you know, it was just skip. Like, because
Yeah.
everyone was like, "Yeah, we're done with that." And there's no version on Spotify or anything that I can find that doesn't have it on.
It's so
And
unnecessary.
it sucks because it feels like it's just whiny at some point. Like, it's like, okay, like, I get it.
It's a society. It's a weird metaphor comparing like an
Yeah.
abusive parent to like the government.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I want, because before I shit on it, I didn't want it to like.
Yeah.
No, you can shit on it. I'm
It's just
sorry.
weird.
If it was like a real thing, I would be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'd back off. You know what I mean?
But I skip it after the like, "And when I dream," I just skip it after that part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like once it gets back into the song, you're only missing like another 30 seconds of the song after
Yeah.
the 45-second like, I'm gonna hurt you too now. Like, and yeah, to me it's just like I almost didn't give you the album because of that part.
That's fair. Okay.
Because I didn't want to have to tell you guys, like, I didn't want to make you uncomfortable, especially, like, I don't know your situations.
Yeah,
I don't know your
yeah,
lives. I
that's
didn't want to
fair.
have to give you that, especially, like, it could be triggering for people.
Fair.
But, and I don't take that lightly, but I didn't want to have to give you this album with the stipulation of, like, "Oh, look up no mommy abuse." Like, literally, there's a video on YouTube that says
dude.
no mother child abuse part.
Wow.
And I didn't want to give you that, so I was like, and here's the thing with music and art, you have to look at the whole thing.
Exactly.
So I was like, I'm just going to commit and give it to you. It's 45 seconds. So sorry. It just ruins the song. Like, it feels like it just...
it doesn't need to be there.
It doesn't need to be there. It actually genuinely like ruins the song. Like, and a lot of other metalheads in the comments on YouTube of that no mommy child abuse part were saying it's not even that it's uncomfortable or that it's like, because plenty of other songs do that
Yeah.
too. But it's like, it's whiny and it's fucking annoying. Like,
Yes.
that's the worst
Yeah.
part of it. Like, on
Yeah.
top of the fact that it's just uncomfortable.
He's doing like a weird voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ow!" I'm like, "Oh no!" He's like, "No, no, 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 no." Ow. Oh. That's the most that I had. I said I just wish that they cut out the mommy part, and then I would have been fine with it.
Anything else? But Down with the Sickness?
Overall, I liked it except that part. Like,
Yeah.
I was really happy that it grew on me because I feel like it's honestly kind of deserving as the title track.
Yeah.
I think it works, and it's the actual song itself is really catchy.
Yeah. Agree. Riff is great. Yeah. Good vocals. Bad break. Moving on, we have Violence Fetish.
This song sounds like it was rejected from the live-action Scooby-Doo movie. Like, to me, I don't know what it is about it. It just has like the same energy.
I can see that totally. Yeah.
I said this one was just kind of boring to me. I didn't really have a lot to say about this. I was very glad that it wasn't 8 minutes long,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to sit through 8 minutes of boring.
Fair.
I kind of liked when the car went like ow ow with the guy's voice.
Oh yeah. Again, they're great at writing choruses.
Other than
yeah.
that, I felt really uncomfortable listening with headphones because it kind of sounded like, you know, the ASMR when people put like a candy in their mouth and they're like super close to the mic like this.
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like, and it felt like he was like crawling in my ear, and I hated that. So I don't have this on any of my playlists.
Fair.
It's
That's
a
very
skip
fair.
for me because it's just boring, and I feel like a lot of the ones after this on the album are kind of very similar. Where I was just kind of bored. I was like,
Yeah.
it's fine if it's in the background, I'm good. But like actively listening to it, I was just like, I want to do something else. Like
Understandable.
Yeah. Like a lot of the beginning part of the song, he's like doing like his style singing that isn't like the metal vocals.
Yeah.
His like regular like not I don't want to say regular voice. They're both his regular voice. They're both part of him.
His
I don't want to.
not yelling voice.
Yeah. Well,
His
either
melodic
way,
voice.
His melodic.
Yeah.
AJ, this is why. This
why I
is
keep
why
me
you
around.
This is why you own the podcast. No. The fact that like that is still him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like. His melodic voice is actually like it's really really nice, and I really enjoy listening to it a lot. It kind of reminds me a little bit of I don't know how to pronounce the band's name, but the vocalist from Somebody I Used to Know.
Oh, Gautier?
Gautier, is that how you say it?
I think it's Gautier.
Well, when it kind of reminds me of that in terms of like it almost sounds like it almost like hurts to sing a little bit, like he's about to well up with tears a little bit. Like I don't know, but it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I like it when he sings like that. And his like screech singing, I do enjoy too.
Yeah.
At least he's committing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He goes all the way.
Agreed. I think the chorus is the strongest part of the song. The ow, ow, is just fun.
Yeah, I like it because he doesn't really get into like grindcore.
No.
Really.
Yeah.
But like, you know, like when he does his screaming really well and he does his singing really well and he has a really good balance.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't feel forced. It just feels like he could just go from one to the other. And
Yeah.
that's, you know, I really like that. So
I wrote another. Okay, well, first of all, the bass also is pretty. It's chonking on this one.
Those funk bass lines, dude, they're fucking
Love
great.
the bass.
It's very very nice. But oh my god! Also, I love the guitar syncopations on like the
Yep.
triplets. That shit is like
Yeah.
so fucking tight. I wrote a weird note that again I just was typing too fast and I don't know what I wrote. I said I like this delivton.
It's okay.
Delivery?
I guess delivery on this. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I like this delivery on this one more because his non-screaming voice is very, very nice.
I see.
We can coin Delivton.
I was
Yeah.
going to say, I made a typo too in my Down to the Sickness notes when I was talking about the breakdown. I wrote, I could have a dong of just that part.
I also could have a dong of just this part.
Yeah.
Fellas. All right. Anything else about Violence Fetish?
Nothing really.
All right.
I didn't mind it.
Next up, we have Fear. Honestly, the big thing that sticks out to me is the intro.
It was like a Grand Theft Auto type beat.
Yeah, it's hardcore like hip hop.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's something off of the Marshall Mathers LP. You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like I thought we were about to go into Bitch Please 2. Like
Oh fuck yeah!
that would have been kind of tight actually. If just like
agree.
all of a sudden Nate Dogg just like appeared on the
Oh, I would love that. That'd be
Dude,
so nice.
that'd be fucking cool actually.
Yeah.
There he has like this is the one of the tracks I meant when I said he has like a flow. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like the way he is singing the lyrics, it reminds me of the song Chun Li by Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
You know what I mean? The dun da 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 dun da 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 kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how he's like spitting out the lyrics.
Yeah.
And then I like the way he says back in this song. It sounds like he's squawking.
I said I really liked the guitar and the drums, how they were playing
Yeah.
off each other right
Oh,
before
yes.
the second chorus. And then when his vocals came in and they were all, I was like, ooh, like.
Fear awaken.
I
Oh
was
god, so
like-
good.
Yeah, I was like, it's pretty good. It's not one of my favorites on here. It's just like, once again, like, other than a couple things here and there, like, for me, it's one of the ones that I'm like, I forget a bit of it, you know?
Yeah.
There's no reason for me not to add this to my playlist, though. Like, it's just like, it's not like, for me, like, Stupefy or the game
Voices,
or any
yeah.
voices or any of those that I, like, really, really enjoy. But this is one I think that
It's solid.
I think it needs to grow on me because
Yeah.
I think that, like, there were really parts of it that I really did appreciate. It's just like some of it felt like weird, but then I was like, well, maybe I just need to open my horizons and just listen to it again and really not from like a super critical standpoint, but just like okay, can I enjoy
Casual
this?
enjoyer,
Like a casual enjoy this? Can I just drive and listen to this song? You know? So,
Yeah, I definitely think so. Especially like the post chorus is fucking awesome, where it plays with the channels too. Where it's like
Yes.
guitars on the left, drums on the right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think this is going to be one that I re-listen to.
Yeah.
Besides Down with the Sickness up to a certain point.
the no mommy version.
I think this will be one that I listen back to because I love the chorus and like the post chorus. Did you say?
Yeah, the post chorus.
Yeah, no, I fucked with this one.
All right. Next up, we have Numb. This just sounds like a kind of post grunge song, just like Creed, Nickelback esque to me.
The like vocal harmony effect on here, it reminds me of there's like a Ween song on The Pod that like this kind of reminds me of.
Okay.
Just a little bit, because you know how like they'll have like, I mean, a lot of artists do this. They'll like double their vocals a little bit, but like whatever filter they had on this one, it sounded like it could almost be on The Pod.
Gotcha.
Just a bit not.
Yeah.
Just like, you know,
Not as
too
weird.
crunch.
Yes.
It's too crunch. Too much crunch.
Not enough bunch.
Exactly.
No. You continue. Please. Please.
I need to actually read what I wrote, so you go.
I was just to say, for me, this one's just like a generally weak song. It's just
Yeah.
slower, and that's fine having slower songs. I feel like, sometimes you need a ballad in there every once in a while. Not to say that this is like a ballad, but I'm just not a fan of it just because it's like, it's not what I listen to Disturbed for. I listen to
Exactly.
it for like that
The
brain
hard-hitting,
scratching,
yeah.
the hard, like I want the staccato, like,
Yeah.
you know? The instrumentation is what shines on this song,
Agreed.
honestly, for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's boring. I said the ripping and tearing part was the most interesting part to me.
Okay.
I have no idea what I mean by that. But I guess there's one part where he's talking about ripping and
and
tearing.
tearing.
Yeah, that is one of the lyrics.
Yeah, and so once again, I don't really remember it too much because there was nothing really that stood out to me.
It just sounds
Yeah.
like it's a stereotypical like 90s alt rock, 2000s post grunge song. I like the outro is cool with a little 6/8 shuffle was neat.
It was fine, nothing really to complain about it.
Yeah.
I just it's not what I listen to Disturbed for. I have a very set expectation for them, and this was just like not one of the ones.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they'd be going on tour playing this necessarily. So
Yeah.
um.
No, I got you. I actually kind of like this one. I thought it was a nice little change of pace. I like the fact that they were able to do some slower stuff. And I like his vocal delivery, especially toward the end of this one, I think. But yeah, surprisingly, I like this one. I think they pull off a lot of things well in this album.
Agreed. I will say I think like here is kind of where like my fatigue starts setting in.
Yeah, I would say either this one or I think actually no, I wrote on the 9th track. I think is where my fatigue started setting in.
Okay. Well, I think this is track 8 we're on. This is 1.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot to say about this one.
This is the one that I put the eye emojis on. The lyrics are a little like,
Yeah.
because he's like, "Oh, you want me so bad, you don't want to admit that you want me," and it feels kind of like,
Try hard, cringe.
yeah, I don't know how to say this politely. It feels a little like
Incel.
Incel.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Because he's just like, your mind won't let you tell me how much you actually want me. And it's kind of like, I'm going to convince you to fuck me is what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And
I feel
it
your
sounds a
hunger
little-
to taste me. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
And it just feels like, dude, she said no. You know?
Yeah,
That's just
back
what-
off.
Savor the addiction, savor the addiction, savor me, savor her mind.
Ew.
Yeah. I like the guitar part after the bridge a lot, especially when it got all in the high registers. But other than that, not a go-to for me. This is not one I think I'll be listening to.
Agreed.
And,
The guitars are very good though.
yeah, guitars were pretty good, but the lyrics kind of, once again, the lyrics really kind of ruin it because, like,
Yeah.
I can power through some other stuff with this album.
But when your whole song's built
When the
around
whole
that,
song
yeah.
feels like an incel, like,
On Reddit.
you want me so bad. Like, your mind won't tell you that that's what you want. Like, it's almost like I'm going to prove it to you. And that to me feels like, what do you
Yeah.
mean by that?
Yeah, even I'm looking at the first stanza of lyrics right now, and even so, it's kind of like, good God.
Eee.
Matt, can you Google the definition of the word no for me? Because
I think Disturbed needs a little lesson.
I was literally about to be like, yeah, what do you want me to like?
like it I don't know. It just feels really like,
A little icky.
Yeah,
I know cringe is dead, but here's one place where maybe we should,
It's resurrecting.
yes.
it's alive. Shall we
move
just move on then?
Yes.
Sorry, you were in the middle of saying that, weren't you, AJ?
That's okay. But see, the hive mind is still in effect. We're still. Next up, we have conflict. So in the intro, the thing that reminded me, I said, "What the fuck, mucka plucka screeches" in the beginning.
Not Tally Hall.
Oh, Tally Hall.
No Tally Hall. Shout out to, I guess, our first episode of season 2. Quite a good comeback, I'd say.
I really like that episode.
It's fun. I had it was great to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
'Cause recording alone is weird.
It really is.
Future Gavin will surely enjoy that episode when he gets to it.
I'm sure he will.
I think this song is way too long,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me.
Yeah.
I think this song is just a little bit too long for my liking, especially since he just keeps repeating the same thing over and over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I really like this song. This
Okay.
is another Gavin childhood one though, so
Okay.
I'm looking at it from like
Yeah.
I have grown up listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he's saying anime in here. Anime.
You know, on second
I actually wrote that.
on second
Chainsaw
thought,
Man.
I may have to actually put this on my liked playlist now.
No,
I love Chainsaw Man.
yeah, the lyrics are a little cringe, you know. I said what's new.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
I love the guitar and the bass in this one, especially because it's just like
yes.
it's like da 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 da, you know, and like it's just a lot of like pew 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 straight going through. I love that. I said the random like you tell me that you love life and then find another way to kill life. That part was just like,
Yeah.
you know, I take it or leave it.
Par for the course at this point.
But then like I like the bass in that part though.
Yeah.
You know, and especially the like the wanting love life and it's like boom boom. Like I love that. So that's why for me I really like the song. Like as
Yeah.
a bass player, I'm
Fair.
just like, oh fuck, we finally get something interesting
There's
for once.
also
you know?
a really cool breakdown. I really like a lot of it. It's like very spacey,
Yes.
which is really cool. I enjoy that a lot.
Yes. I like to like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
You know, and then when he goes boom, 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 you know, in the higher octave, I really love that. I like the way that at the end of the song that they combined both those parts, like with the like anime,
Yeah.
and then like the you wanna tell me that you love life. Like I thought that was a really good way to connect both parts because at first when like the life part came on, I was like, what the hell are you talking about? But then at the end when they combine it, I'm like, okay, I kind of dig it. I see where you're coming from, where it being a bit too long. Like as someone who grew up and enjoys it, like I can see like where the fatigue would, especially after listening to a whole album of Disturbed at this point. I could see like why you'd be like, all right, get on with it, you know. So coming from someone who selectively listens every once in a while and has this in a mix of like 2,000 other songs, I do enjoy this song very thoroughly. But I also grew up with it, so my expectations are like, this is what my expectations are based on, you know.
No, that's completely valid.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally fair. All right, moving on to probably one of my least favorite tracks on this album. We have Shout 2000.
I gotta be honest with you. This is a fascinating cover
It is.
of the Tears for Fears song.
Yeah. It is like interesting hearing a metal version of like a new wave 80s pop classic. I don't like it though.
I don't like when he's like, shout,
Yeah.
I don't like that. But then after that, I'm like, okay. And then he starts like rapping and I'm like, I don't really like this part.
Yeah, and
Like,
he's changing lyrics too to make it more like edgy.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
If you're gonna cover the song, at least try to like
Do it faithfully.
I have a bunch of crying emojis and then yeah, and then what was and then I was like, what was that? So
Oh my god. That's so funny.
I said I like the way it ended. That was pretty good.
I agree. I also kind of like the ending to this one.
Now, bitch, you're ice, baby. Didn't like that part.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear that part.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my! I was probably at this point. I was not really paying attention. I was eating my fruity pebbles, you know, on the couch, cuddling my cat. It's her
Yeah.
birthday today. Happy birthday! She turns
Hell
3.
yeah.
Happy birthday.
And and I was cuddling her, and I had like one headphone in, and I was like pausing and everything, and getting my cereal and coming back and unpausing. So that's probably why I missed some
Yeah,
stuff in this
fair.
song. Because at this point, I was just like, okay,
Yeah. But it's not a bad cover. It's just a cover that I don't really like, I guess, on principle.
Yeah, and like as much as I appreciate them trying to do it, because I was genuinely surprised. Because at first I was like, "Shout 2000."
Yeah, because I heard the instrumental. I was like, "There's no fucking way."
I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
wait a minute. I know this song. Why do I know this song? And then I also did not know the original was by Tears for Fears.
I had to Google that. Too.
Same.
Yeah.
Like I literally I looked up Shout and I was like, oh, okay. Because like it's actually funny. Because this is actually the original song was a song that like I knew like the
Yeah.
I couldn't name what it was called. So then I looked up
okay.
Shout and I was like, oh, okay, now I know the name of the song.
Nice.
And now it's resting safely in my 80s playlist.
Hell
It's
yeah.
almost like they say it. They shout it twice.
If you
shout.
I don't pay attention to lyrics. I only pay attention to melodies.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Because
Yeah, like all the time though.
I'm a rhythm guy, so if I don't like the rhythm, I'm not listening.
So now we move on to probably the worst track on this album.
This is my favorite one in the album.
Are you sure?
No, I'm fucking joking with you. Never.
Yeah,
Jesus
dropping
Christ.
plates sucks ass.
The fucking noise in the beginning was just like, oh Jesus.
Disturbed in the house.
Yeah, dude, it sounds like a fucking Lonely Island song.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like they're setting it up for like a parody rap. It's so awful.
So I will, to some credit, I do like some of the instrumentation. I don't like how they combine it with the vocals. That felt weird to me. I feel like when they went 4 to the floor with the drums,
Yeah.
fucking loved it. You know, I said it had me shaking my booty a little bit, and then the vocals kicked in, and I was like, you know, could not be moved.
Yeah, hold up.
Like I was like, okay, instrumental's good, and then the vocals come in, and I was like, oh. I like when people combine rap and metal. I fucking love it. If you do it right, this was not done right. I
Agreed.
feel like once again, this feels like a little sleep tokeny, but
Yeah.
like worse, you know, in some ways. I just don't like when they were like disturbed in the house. Like I
Yeah.
was like, are you? That's what you came up with?
Dude, that's so outdated.
Like I could like turn around right now, fart into the microphone, and come up with something better than that. I'm sorry. Like,
Dude, plus like the concept of the song where it's like their track where it's just like, yeah, we're fucking epic. You're gonna buy our fucking records, you pussy. And it's like,
dropping plates on your ass, bitch.
yeah, it's like,
that's-
dude, shut up. You're like 12, dude. Shut up.
You're like 12.
oh my god, it's not one of my favorites.
No, I will say when he says, well, on your mark, I thought he said, well, I'm your mom. And every time I heard that, I was like, huh?
Mommy, no, mommy, no, oh my god.
I really do not have like anything to say about this track.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't quite like it.
No.
But now we move on to Meaning of Life. And the intro sounds like I think we're alone now a little bit.
I can kind of, okay, yeah.
I said that the opening instrumentation was great.
Yeah.
That just from my experience, you know. I felt lackluster. Chorus was pretty boring.
I enjoy the riff. I think like as a closer, it's solid enough.
I said I actually liked the rap part on this one.
Okay.
So they should have taken notes from Dropping Plates from Meaning of Life on how to add rap with metal.
Effectively.
I did say I'm so glad to see this was the end of the album because I don't know how much I would have been able to handle otherwise.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was really feeling that fatigue.
Agreed.
You know, I was not, you know.
He also he peaks the mic on this track. Like, I don't know if it's intentional, but it's just really funny whenever I hear it.
I need to go back and give it a listen again just to hear because I didn't. Once again, I was at this point like half in, half out.
Yeah, there's just like little things that you notice where you're just like, what the fuck? Okay.
Yeah. Because the last time I really listened to this album in depth was months ago. And then I was like, well, I'm familiar with this album. I'll give it to you. And then, of course, I did a quick listen through this morning just to refresh and everything. And there were some things that I was like, no wonder I haven't fucking listened to this song since I first like really went in depth with it, you know, months ago. But yeah.
Shall we get to our final thoughts then?
It's a good idea. So, Gavin, what'd you think of The Sickness by Disturbed?
Very nostalgic for me. I would say, you know, if for me, if the Sleep Token album was a C, this one's like I'd say like a B plus.
Okay, yeah.
B plus. I'm not really gonna go above that. Once again, the high points were really high. The low points were pretty low. You know? But this one felt more consistently like on a spectrum. Like if this is here and this is like really, if this is dropping plates and this was like, you know, ooh,
The game.
This is the game.
Yeah.
Right. Everything was closer to the game.
Yeah.
Like it was like left of center for me.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. I really like the way they do the guitar. His vocals are phenomenal. I knew most of the songs on here from my childhood, so of course I have really fond memories of being in the back of the car, like listening to them.
Stupefied.
I really like it. I'd say out of 5 or out of 10, I guess is what we do. Maybe like a 7.
All right.
6.8, maybe 6.9, maybe. I don't
Okay.
know.
Daring.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Solid. Matt?
So in terms of in terms of the instrumentation, I do like it a lot, and I think it really grew on me when I'm trying to sort of like modify my paragraph because I wrote a paragraph of like my first listen. I forgot to edit it, so I'll just try to go off of it and try to edit it where as needed because my opinions did change a little bit. I think in terms of the instrumentation, it's very, very nice. When I first listened to it, I found it a bit repetitive, but then I kind of started getting into it the more and more I would listen, especially like the first 4 or 5 tracks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like those are the ones that I really took in like a lot more than like the end half. Toward the end half, I have trouble like remembering how some of the songs go. Like it only kicked in once I was looking at my notes. I was like, oh yeah, okay. I fatigued in this record like a little faster than I wish I did. But I mean, honestly, overall, I think they did a pretty good job. Yeah. And I'm glad. How many days did you say they?
106 weeks.
106 weeks.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
That's like, and
this was their debut, right?
50. Yeah.
Damn.
And if a year is what, 52 weeks?
I'm bad at math.
That's 2 years and some change.
That's wild.
Damn, bro.
Like 2 years and a month. Yeah.
That's crazy. Like, I mean, hey, there are some like really, really high highs in this album. And I think I can appreciate it for that. And I also just love like the techno elements, as I kept saying throughout this review. So overall, I liked it. There are definitely some songs on here that I'm going to be listening to, like Fear. Fear, I think, is probably like my favorite track on here.
Cool.
And then maybe Down with the Sickness. And then, okay, I'll defend the cover of Shout.
Okay.
I'll defend it just a little bit. I'll give this like a 5.4 out of 10.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then on the letters, I'd probably give this, like low B.
Low B.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
So I think my opinion like actually really fluctuated with this album. Like every time I listened to it, at first I really liked it. Then I didn't on a re-listen. Then I liked it more because I was just listening to it at work. And then I kind of just reached like a satisfactory point where I was like, you know what? Not my thing, but I respect it.
Okay.
I feel like the instrumentation I quite enjoy. I think all like the riffs are great. The drumming, guitars, the bass work and keys especially are phenomenal.
Yeah.
They are great at writing catchy choruses and hooks. Those are usually like my favorite part of the song. Like they just have like such great melodies that get stuck in your head. Lyrically, this album is not strong. Like conceptually, it's interesting, but they don't really have the words to like pull that off or articulate their ideas. I don't like the cover. I'll just say that flat out. Because I love Shout, I love Tears for Fears, but I did not like the song. And then it just has kind of like a lot of like pitfalls of 2000s new metal, where it's just like cliches of like appealing to like 14-year-olds with Janko jeans at the time. So
I was not expecting you to drop Janko jeans.
It's a staple of new metal.
It is. You're right.
So I'd say solid enough. I'm gonna give this either a C plus B minus. I'm feeling.
Okay.
But this is a really fun episode. I quite enjoyed this one.
Me too.
Yeah.
It was very insightful, I think,
man.
in terms of like exploring genre a little bit.
Yeah, Gavin, you're a blanket
if
for
you
wisdom.
ever want to invite me back, I already have some actually good albums I've actually listened to.
These weren't bad.
Completely different genres, completely different artists. Because once again, I have a very eclectic music taste. But we can talk more about that when you invite me back. So. Right? The audience is gonna
Exactly. Fan demand.
Exactly.
love me.
Well, yeah, I think that'll do it for this episode of the Family Album. Thank you all for listening and tuning in. As always, I'm your host, Deji Tanari.
I'm Matt Glass.
And I've been Gavin.
We'll see you next week.
Peace.
I love you.